Hello, class. I have a few comments that I'd like to make regarding the work that we've seen so far in our class. So far, you've done a couple discussion board posts, you've had the APA reference, and I remember that you were given a sample APA reference in the helpful information announcement. There's a sample paper that's been provided for you that gives you an example. So please take a moment to look over those so you can get an understanding of how to create those APA references. You've submitted a video summary, a principal leadership article, and remember in the helpful information announcement it was explained to you that every paper that you submit should have a title page. The sample paper that's attached in the announcements area gives you an idea of what a title page should have on it and what it should look like. So every paper that you submit from now on needs to make sure that you have that title page. It's important that you do it now that you have an opportunity to practice attaching those, because the final exam has a lot of APA style points in that rubric. So if you practice that now, then when it comes time for the final exam, you won't be losing as many points. Your quizzes come directly from your reading in the text. You have got to select the answer that was in your reading. If you have not read, you're not going to be successful on those tests. So please make sure that you're doing your weekly readings. Make sure that you're reading the assignment details. My weekly announcements that I post each week gives you a bird's eye view of what's coming up. They're not definitive as it relates to what should be in those assignments when you submit them. For that, you need to open up the assignment details and follow them to the letter. You need to be uploading Word documents inside Blackboard. You should not be uploading PDF files or text files, because I'm not going to be able to open them up and leave feedback and give you a decent grade on those files. So please make sure that you're following the instructions. Every one of the assignment instructions asks you to submit a Word file if it's a paper or a response to something. They're asking you to do that. This past week, I graded your interview questions. If you read those instructions, it asks you to create questions based on our reading that would extend our reading and our study. Things about bullying, assessment, teacher tenure, any of those topics that we're going to be covering in the course were good topics to ask questions about. The whole point of the assignment was to show that through the crafting of your questions, you were beginning to understand the material that you were reading and studying in the class. Now, the purpose for the interview was to get another perspective on the topics that we're covering, not just what we're reading from the text, but for what we're hearing from the field. So it was very important that you take the time to really do a good question. Now, I've left several comments on some of the questions. My expectation is that you will have those revisions when you submit the answers during week 6. This week, this last week, all you had to have were the questions. Week 6, you actually have to provide us with the answers. So please make sure that you make those revisions if I have asked you to do so. Week 4, with the SYOA, select your own assignment. All you do is you tell me in a Word document which one of them it is you want to do, whether it's the application or whether or not you want to attend a board meeting, and why. So that's all I have to have for this week. Your philosophical essay, please make sure that you read the instructions. You have got to go to that section in the textbook, participate in the quiz, determine what your philosophy of education is. You might have 2 or 3. That's fine. Then you look at the scenario. You've got an American history class where kids don't want to be involved, they don't want to be engaged, they don't want you calling on them, they don't know why they need to learn this. Then you, using your philosophy, you have an introduction where you state something catchy, and then you mention what your philosophy is and why, how you found that to be your philosophy. You don't necessarily have to say how you found it, because we all know how you found it, but you could just list whatever your philosophy is. Then in your next paragraph, you talk about how this philosophy is going to be used to remediate the issues that are in the history class. And you will do it by engaging in some sort of activity. It might be a reenactment of a Civil War battle. And this fits with my philosophy because my philosophy believes, and then you tie that activity to your philosophy and you also tie it to the class. You do that 3 times. You have 3 things that you're going to use that are directly related to your philosophy that can be used to remediate the issues that you're seeing in this American history class. And then you provide a conclusion. But now when you talk about your philosophy, or say if I say that this reenactment is characteristic of my philosophy. Well, how do I know that? I know that because I've read about my philosophy from the textbook. Therefore, I need to cite the textbook. So anything that when we're making those kinds of connections based on what we've read, please make sure that you're citing and creating those references. I've made several corrections to citations on different papers. So when you're citing the textbook, it's Kochak and Egan with the ampersand, and then comma and whatever the year is if you're not directly quoting. But if you're directly quoting, it's all of that and another comma and then P period and whatever the page number is. And then at the end of the document, references, not works cited, references, and then you provide the reference for the textbook. Now, I've given a sample of how to create a reference for a textbook in the helpful information announcement, but you also have a reference for the textbook in the syllabus. But now it may be in APA version 5 versus version 6, so there might be some differences there. You got to check it. So always remember to do that. Please make sure that you have downloaded the library help sheet and you know how to go through that library and find specific journals. Many of you had problems finding the journal Principal Leadership. Some of you had the National Association for Secondary Principals was your journal that you had selected an article from. Well, that's the wrong journal. You couldn't use it. Others of you had selected a topic on bullying, but it might have been from some health journal. You can't do that. You have got to follow the instructions. Now, after this week, you have a Phi Delta Kappan article that you have to do a review on. You've got to have that article from that particular journal. So again, if you download the library help sheet, you look at the video that I posted inside the course announcements area, it will explain to you exactly how to migrate through that library and find that particular journal. Once you find the journal, then you want an article that's within 5 years old that might be on bullying or teacher tenure or any of the topics that we've discussed in class, quite frankly, will be fine. And then you write your review. But you begin with a title page. You have a running head. You have a title, a page number over there, a little bit of information in the middle of the title page, your name, the course name, the date, that kind of thing. And then you have your summary, and you have your reaction to that summary as an educator. And at the very end of it, you have another page titled References, and you cite that journal. Now, there's an example of how to do that in the helpful information announcement as well. You are provided with a bulk of information that can assist you in this course. I know that many of you are working, you have families, you're leading very busy lives. I understand that. But in order to be successful, please take the time before crunch time comes and review exactly what it is you're supposed to be doing and follow through. If you've got any questions, send me a text message. I will stop what I'm doing in the middle of the day at work and I'll reply because I pretty much know it. I wouldn't have to go and check inside the course is what I'm trying to say. I would understand how to answer your question most likely just with a simple text message. I don't mind doing that. So I wish you the best. I pray that God blesses the work of your hands. One last thing I would like to mention is that as an educator, everything you say, the way we speak and the way we write is going to be graded in the public eye in terms of, whether or not we're educated people. So in your discussion board posts, please make sure that you're using proper grammar and that you're spelling things like you should be. Please make sure that you're doing that in your responses to your essay questions on your quizzes. It's very important that you practice that. over and over and over. And after a while, it just becomes second nature to the way you communicate. You also want to make sure that on your papers, if I've asked you to seek assistance from the Writing Center, please make sure you do that so that you won't lose any further points. Now, certain things I can help you with, I can point out subject verb agreement, that kind of thing. But the folks at the Writing Center can really look at your paper overall and say, well, characteristically, this writer has a problem with, and they can give you ideas to help you not make that kind of mistake again. They really can assist you. So take advantage of that. If I have asked you to email me something because you might not have uploaded a Word document, if I've asked you to do that, then please make sure that you get that to me. But I'm not going to be in a position to keep doing that. You need to follow instructions the first time. And again, if you need my help, please don't hesitate to ask. I'd be more than glad to help you. Thank you for the work so far. May the Lord bless the work of your hands for the remainder of the course. And if you need me, contact me. God bless you.